I've been sitting here looking at this Albert Einstein quote for a while. I don't know why. Um, Albert Einstein once said, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result." I think the Italian FA and the Italian league have finally gone insane. Let me explain a little bit why. Let me explain a little bit why. I think the Italian league has gone insane because I don't see young players playing anymore. I don't see young players getting molded in the Italian leagues anymore, right? They end up leaving, end up going. Michael Coyote ended up leaving, right? When Michael Coyote could have played for Milan, could have played for Napoli, maybe could have played for Juventus. And I don't watch the leagues day week in week out, right? But I'm just a guy with an opinion, and I feel like why would Michael Coyote have left, right? You could say Premier League football, but I feel like if a team that was in Europe offered Michael Coyote to play in Italy, he would have stayed. Right? I feel like he could have stayed. And one of the examples I want to use is Inter Milan. Right, Inter Milan have been to two Champions League finals in the past what 4 years, and the players they sign, right? The players they sign, they don't show. Oh, we wanna we wanna go back to Champions League final and we wanna play so much better, right? We wanna go back and play PSG and have us beat them 5-0. No, it's okay. We're good and we're gonna stay like this. We're gonna stay good enough to win the Serie A, but not good enough to beat other top European teams, right? If you go through if you go through the transfer history in 2023, 2024, after they won the Champions, after they got the Champions League final, lost to Man City, the play that you bring in to essentially upgrade the squad in a sense, Marcus Thuram, Acerbi, Jan Sommer, Bisek, Benjamin Pavard, right? Excuse me. Marcus Thuram would be a replacement for Lukaku. Jan Sommer would have been a replacement for the leaving Andre Onana. And Acerbi was a loan signing that you made permanent. Jan Sommer still plays now at what 39? Acerbi still plays now at what 40? Right? Acerbi has played what started 15 games, I think 15 or 12 games. Jan Sommer's played every single game. It's not even like we've tried to sign a new goalkeeper from anywhere, or even try and sign even give a young Italian goalkeeper some time to even play in a cup, right? To play in a Supercoppa, to play in an Italian Cup. No, it's Jan Sommer all the way, regardless, right? And I think that's our problem. I think continually banking on older players, continue banking on these guys to continuously save you, it's not helping you because you're not bringing in the future. The future, you're not bringing in anyone to replace these guys. You're not bringing anyone to show these guys that okay, like Jan Sommer doesn't have to play every single day because he knows okay, I can focus on playing the most important games and the cup games. I can give it to a younger player. I can let a younger player play these games out, right? It's tough, man. It's difficult, right? Because they go on to then sign the next summer. I think for Tezzi, right? You go on to sign for Tezzi the next summer, right? And after that, you go on to sign. I think who was it? It's Bono and Akanji and Esposito, right? Esposito is a young player that I can say it's a good signing, right? This is bringing a young player into a top Italian team and allowing him to play games at a side that will be in Europe, right? And giving opportunity to maybe even get to the Italian national team like he did, right? He got to play in the Italian national team and they essentially kind of cooked him by bringing him on and making him take a penalty to get your team to get your team to a World Cup. And people might say, "Oh, he's our striker. He should be taking the penalty." But he's 19. He's 19. And you're telling me that Tonali is letting Esposito walk into a huddle and say, yeah, I'm taking this pen. Right? You're taking this pen. Over me? No. I'm the senior player. I'm the veteran guy here. Let me take the pen. You come after me. Let me kill the pressure, die it down, and let me do that. That's a different story in itself. That's just players not showing up to showing up for the occasion. And then I look at the league again. I look at Como, right? Como is the up and coming Italian team, right? They have Cesc Fabregas managing the team. And the Como young players and the Como team has not a single Italian player on it, right? When I looked at the game, I looked at that 3 games, I believe. I looked at 3 games. If I can go back and find them, it was Como versus Milan, right? Como versus Milan on this whole pitch, right? This whole pitch is one, I think two, one, two, three, four Italian players on this whole pitch, right? This Como team is French, Spanish, it's Brazilian, it's German, right? Argentinian, French, Croatian, Argentinian, right? These whole teams, in this whole game, the young players and the future of your league aren't even the future of your national team, right? I think that's a problem because Como versus Milan, 4 young players. I think Como versus Juventus, Como versus Juventus. I think I might be bugging, but Como versus Milan, 1, 2 players. Como versus Juventus, I think it was like 4 players, right? I think Milan had the most Italian players, and it might have been because they were in the cup, but I think it was like 6 of them, right? Out of the top teams, or like what 5 of your top 4 teams, I'm seeing 3 Italian players max, right? And they're not even, and some of them aren't even your best players. They're just guys, right? They're just guys. I don't think it's a good example because when you look at other leagues, if you look at other leagues, for example, when Bayer Leverkusen was in there, you could say yeah they were a mixed batch. So you had Grimaldo who was Spanish, you had Frimpong who was Dutch, but you had Jonathan Tah who's German, right? Who you can say he can be in the next World Cup first. Even though he's a little bit older, he can be in the next World Cup first. He's showing that Germany can still produce good players, right? World Cup serviceable players. And then you look at, okay, who's the talisman for that team? Who's the guy that people might look at and say he gets it out of sticky situations? Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz was a 20-year-old German player that took the world by storm and took the league by storm, right? Took the game by the scruff of the neck, had the goals, had the dances with him and Boniface, had all the stuff, and people can continue to watch and cheer for Bayern because there is a German player on that pitch that's showing, one, he's young and he's the future. Two, that he's good enough. He's good enough, and that three, he can blitz teams, right? He's good enough to play for Bayern right now. He's good enough to play for Dortmund right now. He's good enough to play for all these teams right now, right? I think that's a problem because you look around, and it's like these Italian teams. Who are they buying? We're buying Luka Modric. We're buying Kevin De Bruyne. We're buying Scott McTominay. We're buying Lukaku, right? We're buying guys like this, right? We're buying older players. Juventus, yes, Juventus is one of the exceptions, right? They had Dean Huijsen and they had Kilden Yildiz, and they kept Kilden Yildiz, and Kilden Yildiz is shown to be one of the better young prospering players in the Serie A. But Dean Hussein kicked him out. He's gone. Right? Dean Hussein now plays for Real Madrid, right? I think that's a problem when you can't develop young players, so you just ship them off, give them away, because you can't if you can't develop them, let me give them to a different country instead of, for example, like England does. Oh, let me go send them to Serie B, or let me go send them to the Championship. Let me go send them to a lower Spanish league, right? Or let me go send them to a lower English team in this a lower Serie A team in the same league. No, no, no. They gotta go. They gotta get out, and that's the problem. The youth development is so bad. And one of the things I've learned from, I think it was JFK JFTV Luca, and when I found out this fact, I was confused. Italian academies, you can just pay to get in. I know for like England, I think, but like before the academy, you can just play and anyone can play. But for an academy, like a Chelsea academy, you can't pay to get in a Chelsea academy. You have to earn. You have to be good enough to get in a Chelsea academy, right? And when you're not good enough, what happens? You get cut. But in Italy, apparently you can just pay to get in, and you can pay to stay. I don't think that's good. Why? You shouldn't be able to pay to stay if you're not good enough. It should be survival of the fittest. And at the end of the day, you have the best 17-year-old, 18-year-old, 19-year-olds, and they get signed to Roma, Atalanta, Bologna, Juventus, Milan, Napoli, Parma, all these clubs, right? But no, because at the end of the day, once they go through and teams start looking at 18-year-olds from the academies, it's like, okay, maybe three of them are good, and the other ones are just guys that are just paid enough, so oh, they can be a part of the team and they can go to school and back. Oh, I play for Juventus. I play for the Juventus team. I play for the Fiorentina team. I play for the Palmeiras team. I play for all these teams. I play for Lazio. Right? Instead of it being like Chelsea, where you can see Tammy Abraham, Loftus Cheek, Mason Mount, Declan Rice, who was in Chelsea but then got kicked out, right? Reece James. Was like these are the best of the best that we have, right? And they go on to win Champions League. They go on to play for the England national team. Italy, right? We don't see that much, and that's one of the problems that I don't think is good, right? It's one of the problems it's a factor to me when I see the league when I don't see young players coming through, right? And even then, when you're in the lesser league, no offense to Syria, when you're in a lesser league, I feel like you should try and give young players opportunity. Like in France, you could say, oh, you could say, oh, France is a lower league compared to Syria, blah blah blah, whatever. But right, there are games where Luis Enrique says, you know what, Vitinha doesn't have to play this game. Wins Emery can play, right? Juan Neves, he can play, right? Let me go play someone else. Desiree Doué can play. If Desiree Doué can play, let me go Mabai, right? Let me go Bradley Barcola. Let me go all these type of guys, all these younger players. Let me give them run time, right? And we saw João Fernandes essentially leave Barcelona to go to PSG because he knows that Luis Enrique gives young players chances. And what in his time, he's got 5 starts for Barcelona, 7 starts for PSG, even a start in the Champions League. Yes, yes, but he saw a better opportunity at PSG to play more game time and said, "I'm gonna go there." And I think a lot of Italian players see that way. It's like I'm not gonna get game time here, like Michael Coyote did. Now, even though Michael Coyote plays, but I'm not gonna get game time, and then the club sells Michael Coyote to Brentford. Making your young players leave the league should never be the first solution you have. It should be try and develop them, and then when they're not good enough, then kick them out, then make them have to leave, right? And this is the point where I want to come to the Italian national team. The Italian national team, I think Gattuso said, "I want to play players with experience," right? I want to play players with experience. Well, experience has got you to miss the past 3 Champions Leagues, right? And maybe you could say, oh, we need to play our best players, right? But do you really need to play your best players against Estonia, against Israel, against Moldova, even in friendly games, right? Do we need to play our best players against Ecuador? Right? I don't know. I don't even know who played Ecuador game. I'm just clicking. Did we need to play Bastoni against Ecuador? Do we need to play him? Do we need to play all these elite players against Ecuador? No, right? And this is where we see in other leagues in England, right? England go to friendlies, they give young players caps, right? They give Lewis Hall caps, they give Livramento caps, Kobe Mainu, uh, Archie Gray. They give all these young players caps, and they show the England fans that watch the friendly games that, oh, these young players are coming through, and here's them even though it's not a World Cup stage or a Euro stage, but here's them against other countries' competition, right? Here's the best players from Chelsea and the best young players from Tottenham all together, right? Let's see how they gel. Let's see how they play together, right? It 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 gives you It gets you hyped. It gets you motivated. It gets you, oh, the future is here and I gotta see them now. Instead of, oh, I click on, I'm like, Bastoni, Bastoni, Bastoni. Let me see Escalvini once in Ohio. Let me see Escalvini play. Let me see Amaka Coyote play instead of uh Palatino. I think it's Palatino. Let me see let me see them play instead of the same old guys that haven't got me into a World Cup in the past 3 years. Right. I wanna talk about now how I think these World Cups, missing these World Cups and the World Cup performances could have affected the younger generation, right? I could be talking whatever, but this is what I feel like could happen or probably has happened. If you're a younger player in Italy, obviously now that I know that you have to pay to get in, right? That's already demotivating you or making you feel like, okay, I'm already behind. Even though I'm a better player, I'm already behind, right? And then and then you think, oh, let me just go watch my club. Let me go watch my nation to motivate me. Let's use me for example. 2006, I would have been 1 years old. Italy win the World Cup. Italy win the World Cup, right? I'm one. I would have had no recollection from that. The only times I would have probably heard about it is my dad talking about it, or my brother talking about it, or my cousin talking about it, right? In 2010, now I'm thinking we just came off a World Cup. Even though I'm 5, right? I can still watch it a little bit, but I'm not really understanding football, right? I'm just watching it. I'm just watching it because the whole family's watching it, right? It gets grouped. The those first two World Cups, 2006 and 2010, would not be very memorable for me, right? Now, 2014, Brazil, Brazil World Cup. I'm 9 years old. I'm going to school in Kaká shirts. I'm going to school in Pirlo shirts. I'm going to school in Pogba shirts, right? To represent Juve and all these clubs, right? Milan, Ita- Italian, patriarchy. Bounced. Won one game in the group, came third. Bounced, right? That's like, okay, you probably thinking, oh, it's a one-time thing. You're probably hearing about the World Cup curse and all that stuff. And then 2018, they don't make it. 2018, they don't make it, right? You were 9 years old in 2014. Now you're 13. 13, you're really enjoying football. You're seeing the Messi's and Ronaldo's. You're seeing all these footballers. You're saying, I want to see my nation against these footballers to say that my nation's better. And they don't even make the World Cup, right? They don't even make the World Cup. And now you're demotivated because now it's like, okay, my country hasn't made the World Cup. Let me take a break from watching football. Let me go play tennis or something else. Let me go play a different sport for a little bit, right? And you come back. Let me see. I'll come back on the next World Cup. Next World Cup rolls around 2022. You're 17. You're 17, bro. You've probably been through the youth stages. You're probably still trying to, get better at football. And your country isn't in the World Cup for the second successful year. And you're probably thinking, I don't even want to do this anymore. If my country doesn't care, why should I care? Let me go play tennis. Let me go play cricket because apparently the Italian cricket team is good. I think I saw a stat that they have the same amount of wins as the national team in cricket. Right? It's a problem. This is a problem. When the Italian cricket team is better than the Italian football team, this is a alarming problem. Ring the bells. Sound the sirens. Everything should go off. Every single thing should go off. Right? And that kid's probably moved on. That kid that could have been a good talent in football has gone to play tennis, has gone to play cricket, has gone to play whatever, right? And now in 2026, he's 20 years old. He doesn't care about the sport, and that's the problem. When the younger generation doesn't care about the sport, the next generation won't care about the sport, right? There probably will be outliers that still like it regardless of whether, but to encourage more people and encourage another generation, we need success. And if the peak and the top players don't care, why would everybody else care? They wouldn't. They would just stop caring, right? He'll just stop caring. And the stuff that I've thought about that should be not regulated, but I think could try to implement is in a league sense, right? The Premier League for every team, you have to register a certain amount of homegrown players and nation-grown players, right? Homegrown players are obviously players that are from your club, right? That come from your youth academy. I don't know if Italy has these rules. Maybe somebody could tell me if they do, but I feel like Italy should try and implement a homegrown tactic or a homegrown thing where you need to have a certain amount of Italians starting, or a certain amount of Italians playing, right? Maybe it's four, maybe it's five, maybe it's six, maybe it's whatever, right? Maybe it's three, maybe it's two, maybe I don't know, but to encourage Italian teams to start playing more Italian youngsters, right, from their own academy, so you can start taking your own academy more serious, and to start taking just bringing in Italian players more serious, right? Because I think they have a European rule where you can only register certain non-EU players, but that's EU, right? They can go sign, you can go sign, Brazilians or what, not Brazilians, they can go sign Germans or Norwegians or whatever, right? And also for the World Cup team, I think Brazil have this where you have to bring one player that plays in the Brazilian league because a lot of the good Brazilian players obviously they don't play in the Brazilian league, they play in Europe, right? You have to have one player that plays in the Brazilian league. That's why you see players like Ryan get picked up, not Ryan, but we saw players like Ryan get picked up when he was in uh, Brazil, right? And we saw players like Kaká get a showing in the World Cup 2002, even though he obviously wasn't integral as much because they had Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, R9, but to show the Brazilian fans that I Ronaldinho and them are here, but the future Kaká, he's coming through. He's also with the players and he's also getting experience, right? He's also getting to understand what it's like to be an international footballer, what it's like to go play in a world stage. And I think Italy should try and implement that. They should try and bring in. Let's say okay, you should at least try and bring in one or two Italian players, right? One or two Italian youngsters. Like have a Michael Coyote and have a Scalvini start. Even though yes, Scalvini was injury ridden for a little bit of the time for the past like 2 seasons, but having Scalvini and Michael Coyote play or experience what it's like to go to a World Cup or experience what it's like to go to a World Cup qualifier instead of the same old guys, it brings a fire, it brings a different type of hunger because Michael Coyote wants to play, right? And he's gonna be hungry because the second gets the opportunity, he might he might bite your hand off and never, you might run and never look back. And you see Michael Coyote hit the ground running, and you're thinking, what? That's your right back for the next two World Cups, right? Scalvini, that's your next one of your next center backs for the next three World Cups, right? Because now next time Donnarumma gets to play for World Cup, what's Donnarumma? Might be 30, might be 29, might be 28, right? Donnarumma has never played a World Cup in his life. Barella's never played a World Cup in his life. Bastoni never played a World Cup in his life, right? And these are the guys that should, they should really care about this. And if they haven't made it, if they haven't made it, they're gonna stop caring eventually, bro. They're gonna stop caring, even though they might show it. And the same thing Einstein said, doing the same thing over and over again is a definition of insanity. They did the same thing over and over again, expected to make this World Cup, right? Played that, played that same three at the back football, right? Just you know, it's 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 pathetic in a sense. It's pathetic in layman's term of what Italy have done and shown, right? Video's a little bit long. What's it? 20, 25 minutes, right? I think I'm gonna wrap it up here though. If you want to see more videos like this, more videos of me talking about random football topics, please leave it in the comments. Give me some recommendations of what ideas you want me to talk about. Like and subscribe. Give me your thoughts on what you think the Italian FA, the Italian league should do moving forward now that Gattuso and them have left. Who you think they should sign, and right, what do you think about the Italian league as a whole, in a sense, and even your favorite Italian young player that you want to see start in the future. Yeah. Thank you very much for listening.